Okay, so today we have a very, very important topic to discuss. It's something that's already been influencing the skies and the general unfolding events for a little while now, but this particular alignment is at its exact phase at this time. So let me give you a little bit of context. Three times this year, we have seen Saturn and Chiron within taking a 1 degree orb. We've seen them in a very tight sextile. A sextile is basically a bridge. And when the midpoint of that sextile is opposed in the skies, that creates what is known as a yod. Now, some people call them finger of God, finger of destiny. I just call it finger of fate. It's the kind of energy that brings about a very karmic focus to something. Now, karma is not written. Anyone who tells you your destiny has been pre-written has not looked at what that word actually means. Your destiny is what you make of it. And alignments like the Yod or the finger of fate are things which actually allow you to confront karmic patterns and cycles and to either get entrenched into them in very powerful ways, or you have the chance to transcend these cycles. So when you have multiple Yods or multiple fingers of fate in your chart, it means that karmic patterns kind of tend to bounce around you and kind of make you feel like, the pinball in a pinball machine. But they occur on certain parts and they constantly give you opportunities to sink further this year. Three times we've been seeing a 1 degree orb, just so that, we can look at the most focused periods of time. We've seen three phases where Saturn and Chiron have been making the base of a yod, known as a sextile, which is a 60-degree aspect. So the first phase was between January 28th to February 24th. That was the first phase. And if you had anything near 4 to 7 degrees of Virgo in your chart, that would have created the finger of fate. The second phase was between June the 8th to July the 8th. If you had anything between 11 to 13 degrees of Virgo, that would have created the Yod or the finger of fate. There's a time that I know a lot of people were dealing with issues at heightened level, issues to do with the lungs, issues to do with the gut, issues to do with willpower. A lot of people are questioning their fate and having quite a lot of health issues, especially in that time, June 8th to July 8th in particular. Now, the third phase, and this is what we are in right now, is between November the 16th to December the 7th. So and I'm not saying that Saturn and Chiron will stop making this bridge beyond that, but again, we are looking at the most intense phase. So if you have anything between 7 to 8 Virgo in particular, this will activate the Yod or the finger of fate. And all of us do, because at this time in the skies, Theriaus is very happily at 8 degrees of Virgo. So what we're seeing right now is an extraordinarily powerful Yod or finger of fate between Saturn, Chiron, and Theriaus. Now, within the past 24 to 48 hours, I've seen the number of bizarre freak accidents go up. Strange fires that break out of nowhere, bus accidents that end up killing a bunch of kids. I heard there was also another plane crash. And, these things happen all year round, but when they happen in concentrated patterns, you need to sit up, and take note. Like in Kuala Lumpur, not too far from where I am, a very large, the city has been covered in very, very heavy smoke, which is unheard of for this purpose, just because a very large factory caught ablaze. That's very unusual for stuff here. And within a day of that, we suddenly had landslides. So we're okay. We are nowhere near in the line of physical danger, but energetically speaking, I can tell you it's been creating a ripple effect. So this is the kind of energy which actually brings about these very punctuated moments. For some people, it will be breakthrough, and for some people, it will be breakdown. That's the nature of a Yod. You can't predict it. Now, some people will be like, but I've been having a great day, and that's great. Maybe you have beneficial alignments, maybe you have things that help you navigate these times, but other people don't. So you need to be looking at it from a more balanced perspective. And I see a couple of birthday babies here. Well, happy birthday, Tamalan. I hope you're taking care of yourself. Just wanted to give you a quick shout out before I get on with the work. So let's talk about what this particular yod is. Now, these are the times where it is most active. November the 22nd, we saw Chiron at 8 degrees of Aries in conjunct Theriaus at 8 degrees of Virgo. That went exact, meaning it was the precise moment of that particular alignment. And in conjunct, I believe, is a 150-degree angle. And that particular aspect is one that brings up uncomfortable things. So to make a yod or a finger of fate, you basically have two inconjuncts and the base, which is a sextile. And so you can look for these in your chart, making sure that you've got the correct aspects selected. So the yod point for this was 8 degrees of Aquarius, which is Saturn is, or 8 degrees of Scorpio. November the 27th, we will be seeing Saturn at 8 degrees of Aquarius, sextile Chiron exactly at 8 degrees of Aries. The yod point will be exactly 8 degrees of Virgo, where Theriaus is. And we will actually be seeing multiple Theriaus activations throughout the rest of December. So we're not done here. But I wanted to give you a heads up for this next week coming up and into the first week of December, because you have to pay attention. So let's look at the different component of the yod. All right. Chiron in 8 Aries is something which can bring up a sense of vulnerability within the self, a perceived sense of inadequacy for those who are willing to be humble enough to ask the question of, am I enough? Am I worthy? Do I love myself? Do I recognize myself for who I am? And for people who are trying to avoid the vulnerability that comes with self-discovery and self-knowing, it can also be a time where people become very defensive. It's a kind of energy where rather than taking the ability to know the self that Aries provides, you ignore that and you then impose it on everybody else because you're trying to get other people to feed back the information that you should be seeing in yourself in the first place. Chiron in Aries specifically can also bring issues to do with above the neckline, which is basically anything above the neck, but it also deals with issues that deal with a fundamental sense of self, a fundamental sense of identity. And we've been dealing with Chiron in Aries for a little while, so this is not exactly the wild card. Saturn in Aquarius deals with, specifically it deals with the ankles, but I would say it also deals with neural networks. It deals with the flow of information in the body, more generally speaking. That's the way I personally see it. It also deals with the functions of the glands and the endocrine system. I would say that Saturn in Aquarius also deals with your friendships, the question of soulmates. That's going to be something that comes up again and again and again as we head towards the end of November and into December. The question of who is on your team, the question of what frequency are you on, and it also deals with the question of who are your guides. Are your guides in alignment with the new occult law, or are you rehashing something of the past? The problem is a lot of people use the language of self-care and spirituality, but really they are just recycling old paradigms and old programs that have had a lot of Instagram filters put into them. So this is where people are going to be asked the question of whether or not they are really building and creating a reality in alignment with spiritual beings, friendship networks, technologies, and systems that are bringing in those new frequencies or not. So people who want to avoid themselves and who are working with, shall we say, older paradigms of sacrifice and martyrdom are also going to succeed at what they are doing as long as the glamour is strong enough. You know, what I have found is the universe provides multiple expressions of beings for people. Those who want to find truth will find truth. And those who want to stay in denial will absolutely find a way to stay in denial. I have seen from experience that people, no matter how many lifetimes they take, do not inevitably find awareness unless they are willing to find it. They are going to keep on that cycle, growing and growing and deepening themselves with the teachings of the false light, till hopefully one day they are forced to wake up. But that's nothing that you can do about. You can only focus on what is your path. So that's the second point. The third point that we would see, so Chiron 8 Aries, Saturn 8 Aquarius, and at this time, Theriaus at 8 Virgo. And you know I am basically the only person who talks about Theriaus because people are scared shitless of it. It'd be like, no, no, it's just an asteroid. God, no. When Theriaus alignments hit, they are very direct. They are very precise. Theriaus alignments in Virgo, they often deal with the digestion. They deal with health complications generally. They can also deal with the questions of how resources are managed on a day-to-day level, especially because it's now in Virgo. So it is about your boundaries. It is about looking at the back doors physically or energetically that have been installed, created, that have been overseen or overlooked for lifetimes and life cycles. So when you look at this kind of energy coming together as a yod or a finger of fate, prepare for a shakeup. It is very, very important to look at the small details as well. Do not take shit for granted. If you have an electrical problem in your home that you've been ignoring, get that fixed. If you've got a bathroom floor that's really slippery, make sure you put a rug on it. Just do these little things to avoid terrible mishaps, because otherwise you're just going to be seeing fires all over the place. That Aries energy is going to come out one way or another. So that is really what is in the skies right now, and that is not the end of it. Now, this is something that I've already been prepping and working with the Tier 23 group with, just because they are more used to dealing with energy more frequently and more regularly. It's also about raising the threshold. It's kind of like a spiritual gym, let's put it that way. But we are also going to be seeing multiple alignments that continue to focus on Theriaus throughout the end of the year. A big one that I would say that's coming up for anyone who is in the field of facilitation, who has questioned the path that they are on and whether that path suits them, especially for the wounded healer types. That's a big wake-up call is going to be coming up for all of y'all, especially around December the 2nd and December the 3rd, because that's when Chiron trines Vesta, the facilitator, at 8 degrees of Sagittarius, and the next day Vesta squares Theriaus. So this is where all of these triggerings that are happening now are going to be framed in light of the question of, is this really how I want to serve? Do I need to serve whilst giving away what is the truth and the very implicit essence of me? Do I need to allow a backdoor in me because my teacher or my philosophy said that I was not allowed to be whole unto myself? So these are the kinds of questions that will be also coming up. Another big deal is the solar eclipse conjunct the great attractor. That's also going to be squaring Theriaus at the same time. So you're going to soulmate activity, questions surrounding, are you with the right person or people? Is this actually a karmic connection that is worth carrying forwards? Or is it something that basically negative forces are using as a backdoor in your life? That question is going to be coming up very strongly, especially around December 8th to December the 10th, as Juno, and I call her the soul awakener as opposed to the soulmate because people romanticize the concept. That is when you get to choose very clearly, very consciously, who you want to be with. What kind of soulmate do you want to be? Are you someone who takes? Are you someone who gives? Are you someone who tries to maintain a balance? So a lot of reckoning coming up around that time. December 19 is very powerful as well because we see the full moon conjunct the galactic center, which is where a lot of that old energy of what is true, what is system, what do we need to uphold, what do we need to maintain, where all of those energies are stored. So as we see the full moon conjunct the galactic center on the same day, we will also be seeing Chiron stationing direct. We will be seeing Mercury between 8 to 9 degrees of Capricorn squaring Chiron and trining Theriaus. We're also going to be seeing Venus stationing retrograde, all on the same day, December the 19th. And that's when we are really going to need to see what is the teacher, what is the path, what is the understanding of facilitation, what is the road and the journey that we need to take, and how do we get there? So that's going to be coming up very strongly. But all of those questions are being triggered right now through this initial Yod, or this initial finger of fate between Chiron, Theriaus, and Saturn. If you can make the decisions now, if you are willing to look in the eye of that which frightens the crap out of you, you will navigate better towards the end of the year. And I'm having about the node shifting or Saturn squared Uranus. But as I've mentioned before, I do not see the need to exclusively understand Theriaus as a predator who's just going to predate upon you and you're a victim, blah, blah, blah. It is an evolutionary pressure at the same time. So look at where loss is happening. And what is the larger philosophy or justification that makes you agree to that energetic loss at any level? Remember, nothing needs to be romanticized just because it's old or just because someone else says it's sacred. That bullshit is not going to fly anymore. So, good luck to anyone holding on to crap like that, because that's not going to work. But for those of you who are willing to embrace change, who are willing to actually be able to see where you yourself may be contributing to the problem, this is a powerful time for us to change what it is we have understood as the material and spiritual foundation of the self, and how that self coexists with others on this very, very conscious planet. And Theriaus, as far as I am concerned, is playing a very nasty role, but a very needed role to make us observe and to make us understand. So that's what I wanted to say in terms of the work today. So having said that, let us acknowledge everybody here and, do a few quick hellos, and then I can wind it down. So, and just remember, everything I've said is especially lit up. I would say I'm up until the solar eclipse, to be honest. And it continues to have an influence throughout the end of the year. So really pay attention now. So let's see who's here. We see Latoya, Ada, Candy, Tara, Susana, Tamalan, who's birthday boy, Sheena, Susana, Jessica, Missy Bawakan, and Black, hello, Batwoman, Maragadavalli, Elijah, Leah, Jackie. Oh, sound is muffled. That's me. Sorry, I keep putting my finger on the thing. Janice, good to see all of you. Good to see all of you. And those of you who are just joining, it's one of those very short, very potent videos. Hello, Taylor. I want all of you to go back to whatever astrology software, whatever it is that you use, and look at what is between 7 to 9 degrees in your charts. This will help you navigate, especially if you have anything near 7 to 9 degrees of Virgo. Do not take your health, your resources for granted. Aim for whatever path of service you take to be one that is sustainable and one in which the balance of give and take is equal. Otherwise, imbalance. So that's what I wanted to say to everybody. Lots of stuff coming up. Do also practice a little bit more physical security around you. And like I said, even if it's something as easy as placing a mat on the bathroom floor, go get it done, because it will save you a lot in the long run. Any questions with respect to what we have discussed here today so far? Adar said, not sure about freak accidents, but have been feeling excessively sleepy and drained for the past couple of days. There's a desire to work on self through learning and exercise, but inability as well. Could it be because of displacement? Absolutely. Freak accidents is the worst thing. And, that is obviously what I would highlight, especially when I see a lot of sudden fires and a lot of accidents involving children. So it's important for me to mention that for people who, especially, if they've been like, everything's okay, but especially when you are caring for someone else, you need to have the responsibility to look. But in terms of your question, absolutely. Excessively sleepy, excessively drained is a form of energetic loss. And you have to understand why it is happening and what is pulling on you. Is it a part of your psyche self-sabotaging itself, or are you holding on to certain ideas and certain energies that are not your own? That is another form of psychic predation that we do not often allow. I mean, one of the reasons why, as much as I like scrolling through my Instagram feed, I recognize that there is a psychic field associated with it. And TikTok, I can't even go near. And I used to be on Facebook, but I had to leave it for the same reason. Anything we touch, whether it's a movie, whether it's a book, whether it's a social media platform, whether it's a friend that you keep talking to, you interact with their field. So you need to be looking at what other externalities are influencing you in a way that you may not be aware of at this time. Sometimes it's a very practical matter, and sometimes it's a psychic matter. I can't tell which from your question, but hopefully that gives you a few things to look at. That woman says, Dr. B, your last meditation facilitation, I have not been able to do yet. Would it still be helpful, or should I pass? I'm in a great space now and feeling good. I would say if you're in a great space, no need. Don't worry about it. Use this information, protect yourself. Use this information to find greater parts of healing, Use this information to create greater structures that benefits you and also those whom you are protecting or caring for. With you, Batwoman, it deals with children. And, that's the kind of energy where you need to basically take what you have that is strong, that is established, and to use that energy in a way that benefits others. So, again, I have to make this a general PSA because a lot of people are not aware of Theriaus, and those who have been introduced to this energy have been doing the work of, making sure that everything is taken care of. Julia says, greetings. Hello, Julia. Margadadi says, I don't have a lack of motivation, but I'm stuck in a place where I can't do much. That is completely understandable. I would say for you, because I do know you, yours is a different case, actually. For you, I'll message you on WhatsApp. I'll message you on WhatsApp. It's slightly different for you. Deborah says, how do you use these Yod points on the cusps or the chart? I understand in the houses, but not between. Well, basically, the house cusp is the start of a particular house. So, if you were to say, for example, okay, your Chiron Saturn sextile is being activated by, say, the 12th house cusp, you would, and this is an excellent question, and thank you for asking it. This is an opportunity for you to basically say, okay, so Chiron and Saturn are going to be acting through whatever it is that is coming as a gateway that opens your awareness into that house. So if it's, for example, the 12th house, it would be spiritual matters, transcendental meditations, past life matters, karmic matters. So basically just look at it as a magnifying lens that focuses on that point. So treat it in that sense, like, an easy way to think about it is pretend it's your Neptune rather than the house cusp, and you're not going to have that question. It's a very similar interpretation. Okay. Batwoman says, deep gratitude, most welcome. Michi says, greetings, Dr. Byri. Greetings, Michi. Lovely to see you. Anadani says, morning, pre-coffee. I see. Recently excessively depleted and drained after hefty analysis, combination of auric depletion, dilapidated mother and knee power. Understood. Anupa says, just coming out of most welcome. Yeah. So there's a lot that's coming up, and everyone is going to have different reaction to this. Remember to look at your mental health, your spiritual health, your biological health, and go appropriately with that. Some people are going to feel stuck. Some people are going to feel pain. Some people are going to feel a lack of motivation. Some people are going to fall down and end up in a hospital. People are going to do this in a different way. So with Theriaus, it is hard to precisely predict exactly how it's going to happen. But as long as you take precautions, as long as you are prepared, you can face what comes. Michelle says, Theriaus is right on my natal Pluto. Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Psychically, what up? And Michi says, likewise, excellent. Okay, I would say, unless there are any further questions, I'm going to go head off and wind down. Because each time I do videos these days, I find that I have to do a lot of psychic clearing afterwards, just because there's a lot of collective debris. Anadonis asks, is there a platform online that offers a peek at the stars? Yes, just go to astro.com, go to the extended chart selection, and you can input Theriaus' number, which is 32532. Again, 32532. Astro.com, free horoscope drawing, extended chart selection, put it in the additional field, and that's how you can find out. Okay, so I would say that's about it. Have given you a heads up. And even if this doesn't immediately apply to you in a dire way, just make sure that the people whom you can help either get the information or you keep a slightly extra eye on them if that works for you. Sunny says, hang on, this is a good question. Is it a bad time to end a dangerous relationship? I just hopped on. This is a tough question. It depends what you mean by dangerous. If you feel that this person has a danger, like an immediate physical threat to you, or even can cause you significant energetic harm, I would actually say use Theriaus against, oh God, physically. Okay, all right. I would say this would probably be a time where if you end it, it might provoke a lot of confrontation. So you may want to make sure that you have the right kind of support group for whatever you want to do. Like literally, if you need to be living somewhere else or to be in a space where, that person cannot enter and does not know. So if you are dealing with someone who can break out in a very violent way, I wouldn't say it's a bad time to end it, but if you do, again, which is the point of this whole video, you must be prepared. You must have a plan of action. And if you can't handle that, in the sense that if things are too overwhelming and you're not in the right headspace, then maybe just make an excuse for yourself and go somewhere else for a few days and work on developing that strength within yourself to have that clarity of what you need to do. There are support organizations for this, and it may be wise for you to reach out to them. Don't let anyone determine your narrative and your pacing for what you need to do. Take the advice, but at the end of the day, you need to decide how you need to best respond. No one can choose that for you. But it is very important to get support, especially when you're dealing with a situation like that. Okay? I hope that helps. Medisa says, greetings. I'm just about to head off. Okay, is there any other questions based on what has been asked so far? Sunny says that thank you, that helps so much. Most welcome. Absolutely most welcome. If I had people to tell me the stuff that I tell you, my life would have been a lot smoother. So I am glad I am in a position where I can help somebody. Okay, so, all right. Any further questions or shall I log off? Giving you a minute. And Adonis says, re-smooth the life word. Yeah. Agreed. Okay. I don't think we have anything so far. Seems to be all right. So those of you who just logged on, go back to the beginning. All of the information is there. And Maggie says, stay safe. You too. All of you stay safe. Remember, keep your practical head on. It doesn't matter what's coming, who's going, whatever. You need to take care of what is within your field. Remember that overgiving and overtaking don't work. You have to find a balanced position. Okay? So take care, everyone. Much love, very many blessings, and ciao, ciao for now. Bye-bye.